Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. So within today's video, we are going to be talking about Sergino Dest, then talk about Ivan Fresneda, and lastly, go on to the topic of Ter Stegen. There's a lot that we have to discuss in this video. If you guys are new here, welcome to the channel. I'm happy that you guys are here. If you guys do want to support this YouTube channel, you guys can so by subscribing to the channel and also liking this video. It's going to help me in the YouTube algorithm, and so the more likes, the better. And so again, welcome to this Barcelona family, and I hope you guys do enjoy this YouTube channel. So let's first talk about Sergino Dest. And it does say here that PSV are pressing for Sergino Dest and are trying to get as close as possible to find the agreement. Now, in the last few hours, OGC Nice have also joined the race and contacted him. This is according to Red Level. So there is a duel going on between OGC Nice and PSV. And it's crazy to hear something like this, like out of nowhere. Like, we thought that Dest had no buyers, no one wanted him. There was also a chance of Barcelona terminating his contract because there just wasn't any buyers. But now we have two clubs competing for his signature. And keep in mind, this is going to be for a loan move with a potential option to buy. Now, Foot Mercado also stated that OGC Nice are pushing to sign Sergino Dest. They are negotiating despite competition from PSV. So finally, Barcelona is going to be able to find a home for Sergino Dest in the short term. So finally, Barcelona is going to be able to find a home for Sergino Dest in the short term. And for him to leave in this upcoming season is going to reduce the salary bill by a lot. As of now, he does earn around 6 million euros a season, and to free up 3 to 6 million euros in the wage bill is going to be huge for Barcelona. It has already been said that if Barcelona want to get closer to signing Cancelo, they would need to let go of Dest and also Lenglet. But Dest does seem like the player that will be leaving first before Lenglet does. Now, if this does end up being a loan, I hope that this loan ends up being successful, because I look at the league at Netherlands and the league in France. I would want Dest to mostly go to the Netherlands. I don't want him to go to the French league because I just think that, you know, at the Netherlands, the competition is greater for some reason. That's just my opinion. I think that the Dutch league is in the top 5 best leagues in the world, and so I want him to go into a atmosphere, right, an environment where everything is high competition, because if that does end up happening, Dest can improve as a player, and maybe by the end of this loan, Barcelona could welcome him back. And I especially want him to go to PSV because if he goes there, he would be able to see Tillman, who is his teammate for the US national team, and also Pepe. Pepe is also another player that does represent the US national team, so they would be having a total of 3 Americans at the PSV team, and Dest would greatly feel at home and deliver great results for his club. So I'm really rooting for Dest to do well. Again, he's still only 23 years old, or 22. I think he'll turn 23 in November. So he's still very young. He has a lot to learn. Who knows, right? He might end up being a great right back in about a few years. It's just that right now he is going through a slump, right? A huge slump. His level right now is just not good enough for Barcelona, and that is why he needs to move elsewhere. But he's still young enough to turn his career around. And if for whatever reason in the future Dest ends up leaving, and let's just say, for example, he either goes on a permanent move in this summer or they buy Dest in the next summer, whether it's PSV or OGC Nice or whatever team, right? I hope that it does not end up biting us back, because if Dest ends up doing very well for whatever team, it's going to be a missed opportunity. Keep in mind that when we first got Sergino back in 2020, you know, the one team that wanted Sergino was Hansi Flick's Bayern Munich, and we're talking about a Bayern Munich that was in top level. Hansi Flick is also a top level coach, and he thought that Sergino Dest had the level, and he wanted to bring him in because he knew and he had a game plan for Sergino. And so that is an indicator, and it's telling us that yes, Sergino probably has that hidden talent that many of us just do not see, but the high level coaches do see. And then you also take into account how he performs with the US national team. It's just like why is he only not delivering at Barcelona? Does it have something to do with Barcelona not utilizing Dest correctly? Maybe a good reason why Dest has not been performing is because he does not do well for teams that are always in possession, and maybe Dest is a player that likes to be in teams where they don't have possession the majority of the time. He wants to be in a team where they play very defensive and then go on the counter, and that is where Dest can blossom. So maybe he's not comfortable always having the ball and playing with the ball, which is why we do see him make so many mistakes. So at the end of the day, this is good. We need Dest out for like multiple reasons. I do not want to see Sergino at this club at all. And if he does end up turning around his career and he has an amazing season with PSV or OGC Nice, then maybe we could consider his return if it's only a loan deal. So now let's move on towards the next topic. And now let's talk about Ivan Fresneda. And it does say here, according to Fabrizio Romano, multiple clubs are interested in Ivan Fresneda. His situation is one to watch until the end of the window. There is nothing between Chelsea and Fresneda. Now you guys may be wondering what happened with the relationship between Barcelona and Fresneda. So it does say here, according to various sources, that Ivan Fresneda is still waiting to see if Barcelona finally decide to sign him before making a decision on his future, because he does have a lot of options on the table. Then it continues to say he gave the green light to join Barcelona weeks ago, but the opinion at the club for his signing has been very divided. It is not ruled out that Barcelona could attempt to sign both João Cancelo and Fresneda in this window if financial fair play does permit it. In the meantime, teams like Chelsea, West Ham United, Benfica, Porto, and Sporting CP have all shown interest in Fresneda. ESPN also wanted to report that Fresneda's preferred destination is still Barcelona, regardless of all of these options, but he is aware that time is running out and will opt to move elsewhere if Barcelona do not act soon. Now here is where it does get very interesting, because even though we know that Fresneda has been in some way very committed to joining Barcelona, one thing that did not rub with him well was the fact that Barcelona are prioritizing Cancelo first, and that is probably a little offensive to Fresneda, because he probably does not want to go to a club where he's being seen as a second option. And Mateo Moreto has stated that Ivan Fresneda waited for Barcelona, the deal was really close to completing, but everything collapsed when Fresneda realized that Barcelona were going after Cancelo. So there's a lot to digest here. I think that Barcelona and Xavi Hernandez need to make it very clear, right? And I think that they have to solve this situation as fast as possible, right? So first, as a matter of fact, first step, Xavi Hernandez and Barcelona need to come into a conclusion on whether they want Ivan Fresneda or not. And they have to find out that answer within the next 5 to 7 to 8 to 12 hours. They need an answer fast. And if it's a yes, if Xavi gives the green light and he wants Fresneda, then they have to communicate to Fresneda, which is going to be point number 2, that they want to sign him, but he's not being seen as a second option. They just think that Ivan Fresneda would be a preferred option to Barcelona when they need to go more defensive, because there are going to be games where Barcelona is going to need to be more defensive, and that is where Ivan Fresneda would go over Cancelo in certain games. So they have to communicate that to Fresneda, because that is what you call a sporting plan, is how are you going to plan on utilizing the player, and Ivan Fresneda needs to know that. And this also leads to a different conversation, right? I think that it would be amazing if Barcelona can pull off these two players, to bring in Cancelo and Fresneda, because there are going to be games, like, yes, it's true, there's going to be games when we face Bayern or City or Real Madrid or any other team, right? Teams that know how to attack and know how to retain the ball. And sometimes there are going to be games where Barcelona have to sit back and defend very well, and Fresneda has to be one of those options, and it cannot be Cancelo. If we're facing a team like Getafe or Valladolid or Real Betis, right, like those regular league matches, then yes, you put Cancelo and start him on the right back position with Koundé and Araujo and Balde. But again, if we're gonna be defensive, Ivan Fresneda is the option. Fresneda has shown that he is much more superior in terms of defensive duels. He's much more physical. He's very athletic. He's only 18 years old, but he's very tall. He's 6 feet, and because he has long legs, that is how he's able to intercept the ball very well, very similar to like Sergio Busquets. And so he's a great defensive reinforcement, a type of defensive reinforcement that we have not gotten in so long in the right back position. We always talked about how our right backs need to be very offensive and bring assists and bring goals, but what about having a right back that knows how to defend? That is Ivan Fresneda. So it gives Xavi Hernandez different solutions and different weapons on the right back position. And as a matter of fact, like sometimes we don't even have to play either Cancelo or Fresneda in a certain game. We can play both. Like for example, Cancelo knows how to play as a left back, and Balde is going to need rest, and that is where we can place Cancelo on the left, Araujo and Koundé as our center back duos, and then having Fresneda as our right back. And that is why I do say, if we can sign those two players, it would be fascinating, and it would be I would say a world-class transfer window coming from Joan Laporta, Mateo Lemán, Rafa Yuste, and Deco, for them to implement these two different profiles. It would solve a multitude of problems for Xavi's Barcelona. So now lastly, I do want to quickly talk about Ter Stegen, because it has been said that there is a total agreement that has been reached in terms of a contract renewal for Ter Stegen until 2028. This means that he has deferred part of his salary this season, and thus generating financial fair play for the club. Then it continues to say here, according to Luis Rojo, that as per the agreement reached between Barcelona and Marc-Andre Ter Stegen, he will defer a large part of his salary for this season and the next, and it will increase in the last 3 seasons of his contract. So if it's going to be in 2028 where it is all going to end, so by 2025 or 2026 is where we're going to start seeing Ter Stegen receive all of his money back. So this is huge news and pure leadership coming from Ter Stegen. As one of the captains of Barcelona, he is leading the way, and he has saved Barcelona, I would say, like on the pitch, because he's a great goalkeeper, and he has saved Barcelona financially. What a way to like really pave the way for the other players. And keep in mind, this is his second deferral at his time at Barcelona. The last time he did a deferral, like a salary deferral, was back on October 2020. I don't know if you guys remember, but Bartomeu renewed the contracts of Ter Stegen, Lenglet, Sergio Roberto, and I believe Frankie de Jong or Gerard Piqué. Like he did 4 to 5 contract renewals at that time, and many of us were like, why would this happen? Why would Barcelona want to renew Lenglet and Gerard Piqué? Like, what is he thinking? But only to find out that the reason why he pushed those salaries to a later date is because Bartomeu knew that he was not going to be here at Barcelona anymore, and he left the problems to Joan Laporta, right? The next president presidency. So this is considered as his second time. And to also hear that Ter Stegen is going to be with us until 2028, most likely, guys, he's going to be retiring at Barcelona, because by 2028 he's going to be, I believe, 36, 37 years old. Maybe he might go back to his previous club, or maybe he could go to the MLS by 37 or 38, because I think that goalkeepers last much longer, but his prime years are going to be at Barcelona. He wants to continue to be here, and that's just lovely to hear. So thank you, captain, for supporting Barcelona. Well, we're always going to be appreciative of that, and we're never going to forget this. So that is going to be wrapping up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.